So I did, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats. And I thought you had to complete all 100 reps before moving on in one single set before moving on to the next exercise, or get as far as you could. Because they were all talking about on the site. This is back in 2008, so this is before YouTube. So all the videos were Venmo, I think, or maybe some off-brand, whatever. And so I did the workout, and I got like 23 half pull-ups, flailing to get above the bar, my chin above the bar, and not locking out at the bottom. That happened for a long time. Ask Lewis Wilkerson if you ever meet him. And then push-ups, I did a max set of push-ups. And then the sit-ups you can just keep moving on, and then the squats you can just keep moving on. There's not a lot of burnout there. I mean, eventually, yeah, whatever. And I was like, it just handed me my lunch, and I was just like, wow, okay, so this is CrossFit, huh? So then I was hooked, and I started pursuing it obsessively, and it gave me something to drive towards. After work, I'd work out for that hour, and that was my hour to go fitness. I'm a welder by trade, so I spent a lot of time before then carrying steel and welding and whatever. So my upper back, it has always been super tight. You put a 4-pound helmet on your head and hold that forward for a day. Your upper back is going to get really, really tight. And I hold a lot of tension in my upper traps. We'll get to that. As a result, a lot of the CrossFit stuff, it helped to a certain extent. And then because I was coaching myself and training myself, I plateaued in a way. I mean, I'd still make PRs, but like my form got uglier and uglier and uglier, and I just kept solidifying imbalances on top of imbalances. And anyway, so fast forward a few years, and I started training my mom, who is a warrior. She's awesome. She was my first client. I guess you could call her my first client. Anyway, and she, I programmed for her and I coached her, and that's really where I started. And then more and more friends got into it, and I started coaching them, and I had a little garage gym that we ran. My wife and I ran. Actually, my wife got into CrossFit, and we trained together before we were married. That's a different story. Training together when married. Make sure you don't follow the same program, and make sure you don't try and coach your spouse. My mistake. Anyway, so we started all that, and some friends got into it, and my brother was into it, and he's actually still into it. He's competing, and he's doing well, and he's a boss. Anyway, so then fast forward a few more years, and we've moved the gym from where it was in the basement of someone's house to a garage, about 300 square feet. We were about 4 years into it at that point, and we had about 300 square feet with a 10-foot ceiling, concrete floor, in a garage under a wood shop, and slowly expanded and grew until we had about 2,000 square feet with a 10-foot ceiling and lots of space. And I'm a welder by trade, so I built tons of the equipment that we had because I had the materials on hand and I had the skill to build the stuff. So I found the drawings online, and I'd find that stuff, and I would just build it if I needed it. Built sleds, built strongman log, built farmer carry handles, built pull-up bars, hung pull-up bars, built the squat racks that we used for another 6, 7, 8 years. Just storage for plates. I built the first set of kettlebells we ever had, just using some old standard 1-inch plates, 1-inch hole change plates, that we had picked up. stack 25s up and then put a rod through it, put a handle on it, welded a big washer on the bottom of it. And those worked really well. Those were our first ones for years. Hung the hooks on the ceiling, welded the hooks to the beams for rings, so we could attach some rings, so we could work on muscle ups and ring dips and all kinds of stuff, ring rows and all that. We welded the wall ball plates across the open section of the beam, so you could do wall ball shots and hit that and not have the ball get stuck in the I-beam at the ceiling. We did tons of stuff like that. And slowly built out that gym into what it is now. Built sleds for pulling rope and whatever. Anyway, then fast forward a couple more years, and about a year and a half ago, my wife and I moved away from the area, and we left that gym, and it was just me in my garage gym working out, just still pursuing the dream, wanting to coach people, wanting to help people out. I live in a smallish town with not a lot of people, and just starting out, we didn't have tons of money, so we haven't really gotten a lot of clients. It's all word of mouth. There's not a lot of advertising up here, and we're 100 miles away from the next town, so it's a little bit isolated, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen at some point. But the hope is to reach, because I'm passionate about this and because I love helping other people, I am hoping to reach a wider audience here on YouTube. And hopefully that's something that people can understand, that you guys can understand, and that you enjoy. I can't make any promises about posting tons of content consistently all the time, because I do work a full day job. It's a great job, love the job, and I need the money. So I'll do that, and when I have time, I will post as many videos as I can, share as much knowledge and as much value as I can. I hope that you find these videos educational, helpful, interesting, and just let me know. Comment below with anything you'd want to know about, anything you want to hear about, anything that's directed, and I'll do my best to fill in that. So I'll post these two videos. This is part 1 and part 2. Had to stop the video in the middle of recording, which is fine. I don't know that I have the editing chops to be able to tie the two videos together, and don't really care. I'll put them up. You can watch part 1, and then you can watch part 2. So that's a little bit of a background for me. And as we get into the last 4 years have really taken off as far as learning, as far as expanding my knowledge and growing. Being stuck in just doing CrossFit, there are a lot of benefits, and the learning curve is high at first when you start CrossFit, but there is, like any other program out there, it can get to be a little dogmatic, and as a result, learning stagnated until we started looking outside CrossFit. I say we, it was me and another training buddy of mine who was also a coach at the time. He doesn't really coach as much anymore. He doesn't really have any clients to coach. So, whatever. But the last 4 or 5 years, really I guess it's 5 years, we really started to branch out, and we really started to learn quite a bit more. So hopefully we'll get into that stuff at some point. The first thing I want to... Anyway, I'll wrap this video up. I'll see you guys later, and I'll keep posting content as I can.